stop, slowly come to rest, then I will see how much time it has taken to come to rest. Based on that, I can tell you what is the damping of the system. Let me repeat again. How to find damping of the system? Simply that I will disturb my system, then I will plot its output versus displacement versus time. Because if I disturb my body displaced, then it tries to oscillate above its mean point, but slowly it can come to rest. So if a system is having a sinusoidal wave which is having a decreasing amplitude slowly coming to rest, then my system is having low damping. If without any oscillation, if my system comes to rest, like without having any sine wave, it's directly coming to rest, then it is having critical damping. If my system tries to come back to rest very quickly, then it is called as over damping. Let's come back to the slide and then try to say, you please see the slide number 145. There are four possible damping possibilities are there. Number one is called undamped. Undamped means the system don't have any damping at all. That is damping ratio is 0 because actual damping is 0. Then the system can be underdamped. Underdamped means the damping value is less than the critical damping. Okay, so one is then the ratio is less than 1, 0 to 1. Then what is critically damped system? My system, if it is critically damped, then its damping ratio is 1. What is over damped? Over damped, my damping ratio is greater than 1. So always remember, for a vibration problem, I'm always interested in under damped system. Can you tell me why? Why you should physically feel high damping? Then high damping means is very good because it absorbs lot of energy, so high damping should be good, but the case is really opposite. Under damped is preferred. Why? Let the body come to rest very quickly. Now what is the problem, you may be thinking, but why I am telling that I allow the body to oscillate then coming back to rest slowly?
Sir, if it will come to rest suddenly, then it will give a shock.
It may overshoot itself.
See, whatever you said is exactly correct. If you allow the body to come back to its rest very quickly, then the body will be subjected to shock, high force, because that you are evaluating displacement. You are quickly coming back to rest means what happened? Acceleration would come. When there is high acceleration, there is a possibility of high inertia force. So as he said, I'm also telling the same word. If I make my body try to come back to its equilibrium point quickly, then it can give a shock to the body. Okay, this is this much explanation is enough, but this is not exactly the real means. There are some more reasons are there that you don't need to worry, but this much reason is enough for you to understand why I need underdamp, because I always allow my body to oscillate slightly and then it come to rest so that the unnecessary shocks will not be created. Otherwise, by simply inducing more damping, I am creating unnecessary side effects like having shock. Okay, so remember one thing, I always want low, low and low. I don't want high, 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 high. What are the low? Low natural frequency, low damping. I don't want high natural frequency, I don't want high damping. Even high natural frequency also having same meaning. If I make the system to come back to its equilibrium quickly, that also can give little shock to the body. Okay, so that also I don't want. So I always keep it low, low and low. So now come back to slide number 145. There are 4 cases are possible whether I can have a damping, means I can have no damping at all, that is damping ratio 0. I can have a damping system between 1 to 0 to 1, that's under damp, critically damped 1, over damped greater than 1. Now go to slide number 146. You can even say, please go to slide number 144. Please go to slide number 144. In 144, the denominator, right? Based on the denominator also. For example, you say zeta is getting multiplied with omega n. So when you are doing a numerical problem, this would be a numerical value. 2 into zeta into omega n will be a numerical value. Assume my omega n is 10, zeta is 0.5 and 2. So 2 into 0.5 into 10. How much? 2 into 0.5 into 10. How much? 2 into 0.5 into 10.
10.
10. So finally, what would you say is this equation would become s square plus 10s plus 100 square. So from characteristic equation, if you try to estimate the damping, you cannot do because the zeta is already multiplied with omega n and s numerically. So now, can I still find whether my system is underdamped or not? Yes. How to find? Go to slide number 146. Now in slide number 146, you take that denominator equation, the equation which is there in the denominator, and it is a quadratic equation. You try to solve it. You try to solve it. Based on the roots of this quadratic equation, you can predict whether system is overdamped, underdamped, or critically damped. Let me repeat again. Either by knowing the zeta value, damping ratio value, you can say the system is under damped, over, or all, or else you take this characteristic equation, try to find the roots. Please go to slide number 147. So in the roots you can see if my roots are if my roots are purely imaginary, slide number 147, if my roots are purely imaginary and the system is undamped. Okay. So if my roots are purely imaginary, finally after getting, if the roots are real and equal, if my roots are real and equal, then the system is critically damped. If the roots are real and unequal, the system is overdamped. So by using the roots of the equation, I can even tell whether my system is what kind of damping. Then you might ask, where is this underdamped systems? This is undamped I saw, critically damped I saw, overdamped I saw. Undamped system might have a complex roots that we will see in coming classes. Okay, so from the roots also you can tell undamped roots might have a complex roots. So undamped root system is given here. When the roots are complex conjugate, then the system will have underdamped. Okay, let me repeat again, very simple. From the characteristic equation, that is a quadratic equation, then I'm finding the roots. Once I found the roots, if both the roots are purely imaginary like this, then undamped. Roots are real and equal, okay, then critically damped. Real and unequal, then overdamped. But if the roots are complex conjugate, then it is underdamped. Then I am also now introducing a new damping ratio, a new natural frequency called damped natural frequency. Damped natural frequency is given by, you please see the equation where omega d is omega n root of 1 minus zeta square. Okay, omega d equal to omega n into root of 1 minus zeta square. Okay, now what is this damped natural frequency? I know what is natural frequency is very good. But what is this damped natural frequency? What do you understand from this term damped natural frequency? Can you try to tell me?
Sir, is the equivalent natural frequency if we consider damping also?
That is right. Yes, you are right. Exactly, you are right. So what is meaning is when a system is having damping, okay, when the system is having damping, then the response of the system won't be same like without damping. Okay, because the natural frequency is evaluated when the system is not having damping. When to calculate natural frequency omega n, damping is not considered. But if damping is included, then the frequency what you are measuring is not natural frequency, it is actually damped natural frequency. Now you have two terms, omega n and omega d, but the resonance occurs when your external excitation is equal to omega n, not on omega d. Remember, okay? Without damping, you consider the frequency, it is called as natural frequency. When the damping is also considered to evaluate its frequency, then it is called as damped natural frequency. But the resonance would occur only when excitation is equal to omega n. Okay. So now let's come back. So from the second order system, I can able to predict my system is critically damped, over damped, or under damped based on the roots of the equation. Now I'm going to find the response of a system. I'm going to find the response of a system for unit step function. Okay, the standard form of a closed loop transfer function. See, remember one time in the exam sometime, the standard form will not be given to you. Okay, so C of S by R of S equal to omega n square by S square plus 2 zeta omega n S into omega n square. This one you should know. Sometime it may not be given to you in the examination. So please remember, standard form of the closed loop transfer function of a second order system is this one. Now we are going to see for undamped system. Okay, if my system is undamped but my input is unit step. So for undamped system, what is zeta? Zeta is 0. So once the zeta is 0, so now my equation reduces to omega n square by S square plus omega n square. Now what is my input? Unit step. So I'm cross multiplying. Now can you try to find what is the final solution? Can you draw? Can you solve? Please try to solve yourself or tell me what is C of t. I gave you up to slide number 49. Please tell me what is C of t. You know R of S is 1 by S. Please try. Kindly try now. You have very less time to try and tell me actually. Okay, actually you have very less time. You cannot solve it. So you look at the screen. I will give you solution directly so that you see. You please look at the screen, slide number 150. Okay, this slide is not given to you in WhatsApp group. Now I will share you this slide so that you can know. So now I am solving the equation C of S, then I'm cross multiplying 1 by S, then I'm doing a partial fraction, then finally my time domain response of a system which is undamped and my input is unit step, its C of t can be given as 1 minus cos omega nt. How I got this 1 minus cos omega nt, you can refer this figure. So when I plot the curve, this is my input, but my output is sinusoidal wave, not sine, it is cos wave. By putting the different values of omega n and t, I could get what is its output. Okay, so don't worry, we will continue this class. We'll continue this. Don't worry why curves are coming like this, I will explain. But as of now, you try to learn up to slide number 159. Now, next week, 30th, we have exam. Okay, the duration, how the things will happen, I will shortly within today or tomorrow, I will briefly explain you how the exam will be conducted, whether it is for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, how many questions will be there, what are the different kinds of questions will be there. You please remain cool. I will tell you everything by today and tomorrow, but the next week exam will be conducted. If somebody is having internet problem, somebody having any other issue, don't worry. Whoever is available, exam will be conducted for them. Whoever could not do, I will finally tell what to happen for them. But my sincere request is, please try to attend the exam with whatever possible way you can do it. Okay. So now, any queries in this class based on today's class?
Sir, how to find the natural frequency